I'm Terry Brock, and this video is very special. It's a little different than the kind I normally do, and I wanted to share something with you. You might have been going through some tough times, or maybe you're the person that this video has been written for, someone who's gone through devastating setbacks, whether it's physical challenge or loss of a loved one or some tragic situation. I had a recent opportunity to talk with a person who you might know, Lyn Ulbricht. Lyn is the mother of Ross Ulbricht. Ross was given a terrible sentence and a travesty of justice that many of us feel is a terrible way he has been treated. 2 life terms with no chance of parole for a young guy that's really intelligent, very kind, never harmed anyone, and yet he's given that. And how you can imagine how a mother would think about that. Well, I wanted to talk with Lyn about this, and I asked her if it would be all right if we were to put together a video talking to others about how you handle that, what you do. If you're going through something like that, or maybe you've got a loved one that's had some kind of a devastating situation, might not be the same thing that Ross is going through, but this video is for you. Lyn Ulbricht is a person who is a magnificent woman. She has inspired literally hundreds of thousands of people, probably millions around the world, because of what she shares and how she does it. She also reaches down inside herself to find that strength to keep going. And she has put this video together so that we can share with you what you can do if you're going through a similar situation. This is the kind of thing that is designed, if you're going through that situation where you're getting hit with all kinds of, well, stuff, and the stuff is hitting you, and you don't know what to do, and you're thinking about giving up, or you're ready to throw in the towel. Before you do that, listen to this video, because we want to be here to help you. Join me now as we get a chance to hear from the amazing Lyn Ulbricht. Hi, this is Terry with TerryBrock.com, and look who I have visiting with me tonight. Had an idea. We have the one and only Lyn Ulbricht joining us. Lyn, thanks for being here.
Great to be here, Terry.
It's always good to see you. And
Beautiful
tonight,
Florida.
what we were thinking, she's visiting here, getting some things done, coming back from a cruise, right?
Yeah, the Contra Cruise, I was a speaker.
Yeah, that's good. I'm
Libertarian
going to have you
cruise.
lean
It
a
was
little bit
great.
closer here so we can make sure we get it on the microphone.
It was great.
It'll be good. And then we're here, and I thought, well, hey, I want to talk with Lyn. We always want to find out from Lyn Ulbricht how things are going. And as a matter of fact, you got a chance to talk with Ross today.
Yeah, because I
think you
hadn't been able to take calls all week because I've been gone. Yeah, I did. I
How's
talked
Ross
to
doing?
him. Ross is doing very well considering where he is. You know, I mean, he sounded good. He is working hard on his case, spending a lot of time in the law library, and he's being purposefully positive, as Ross always is.
Purposely positive. I like that.
Yeah, he's very intentional about it.
He sounded that way when I talked to him. I talked to him briefly, and whenever I get a chance to, we just happen to be there and Ross calls, and we hear him. He's a person that, in spite of what he's going through, very positive, and he understands he's going to make the best of wherever he is. I think he's had a good mother and father that trained him well.
Yeah. Well, he's been really inspiring to me. I mean, he really makes a point of trying to be helpful to the people there, and to keep himself upbeat. Because a lot of people are very down in there. I mean, understandably.
Sure.
And so he's really, I'm real proud of how he's been handling. This is 4 years now that he's been in prison, and it's rough. It really is. But he's a strong guy. He really is. He's mentally and emotionally a strong person.
He really is. When I had the chance to meet him personally,
you spent time
when
with
I
him
spent time in prison,
couple of
talking
hours.
to him, talking with him there a couple hours, and then talked to him on the phone a few times.
Yeah, you happened to have been there when he's called. I'm with you. Yeah, that happened in Aspen.
Yeah, when we were up in Aspen just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was nice to be able to talk to him. And he was, I got to tell you, those of you that are watching this, Ross Ulbricht, here he is. He's in prison unjustly. Many of us believe he should not be there, and there was a travesty of justice. We won't get into all the details of that right now, but every time I talk, he's still positive. It's like, hey, I enjoyed the sunrise this morning, he told me back in Aspen. And today he's hanging in there, and he's doing that.
Yeah, he always finds something to be grateful for and happy about.
And I think that's something that sparked an idea that I had that I wanted to share with those of you that are watching this. And Lyn, if you don't mind, kind of tap into it. You're an amazing woman. You and I did the free Ross-a-thon,
Yeah,
put that together. We attracted over 14,000 people to join
it
there,
was great.
raised $50,000 for the Ross Ulbricht Defense Fund,
Yep.
100% of it going to that. We did this. We were able to accomplish a lot. And I've seen you when things are not going as well, when they are going well, and you have that determination to keep going, to do what's right. And it's also reflected in Ross. And I'm thinking people out here are going through stuff as well. You that are watching this, you might be going through something, or you're worried about a loved one who's going through something, whether it's something like someone in prison, or maybe it's a physical challenge. And so I wanted to take a few moments here, Lyn, if you don't mind, to tap into your brain and even your heart, and what it is that really helps you to keep going, even in the midst of all the yuck, we'll call it that, the yuck that's going on around you. How do you keep going? What's inside you to reach in there and make it happen?
I think it's a combination of things. First of all, mother love, plain and simple. I love Ross dearly, and I cherish him, and I think he's worth fighting for. And I can never give up, because I can't ever rest as long as Ross is in there, to not try to get him out. And he's not a danger to anyone. He is a lot to give, and it's a wrong situation. And so that mothers know what I'm talking about. All parents do, really. It's just a tough thing when, you're only as happy as your most unhappy kid, is one saying. And so that gives me a lot of tenacity.
Good.
And staying on track, and with a purpose. I have a very strong purpose. And now it's expanded, not just for Ross, but for bigger issues that I've seen that I'm quite concerned about, and important issues like our freedoms that are being eroded, like the injustices that I've seen in the prison on other families. And so it's important, and so I'm doing what I can. And but I'd say personally, I have very strong spiritual faith. I really feel like I've seen God's hand in this in a lot of ways. The things that have happened that are just, I don't know. We've been very ironically blessed in many ways with the wonderful people that come my way and Ross's way, and the people who have come up beside us, who have supported us, who just different things that along the way that have been really, I feel like I'm being helped, in a kind of a spiritual way. And I do try to start the day when I can, praying, meditating, reading things that put my mind in the right place, higher things, things that are more inspiring. And
Ross told me how he reads books about meditation, and he does meditation regularly.
He does. He meditates every day. It's
he
helped
wrote me
him a
some
lot.
letters on that, really explaining. Ross has helped me a lot in learning about meditation on that.
Yeah, no, he does. He every day he meditates, and we pray together, and I just. It's like I feel like we're in a battle, a spiritual battle as well as a political battle, and other things. And so that, I don't know, I do get strength from that. And I have to ultimately feel like it's in God's hands. I have to trust that there's something that's, I don't know, that this is beyond me, and I can just do my part. I think on a practical level, I also try to take things one day at a time. When I start thinking, people say, well, what's going to happen then? And what's going to happen then? And what are you going to do then?
Yeah.
And I'm really like, I can't think about it, because for one thing, I don't know, what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen.
That's right.
And I don't want to take on worries that I don't need to take on, because I really don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes I get sucked into that, and I'm like, you start being very fearful. I'm very fearful and frightened.
It's a human thing to do.
Yeah, because we're facing some big issues, big important things, and frightening things, and up against some very relentless and ruthless people. But I really try not to go down that road too much, and I just go, okay, back to what's in front of me right now.
It's a discipline that you have to have.
Yeah, it is. It's a disciplining your thoughts.
Yes.
And so I try to, one day at a time. I have plenty to handle in that one day, and handle that as best I can. And then the next day will have its own challenges, and I'll just do it then. as opposed to worrying about it.
One day at a time.
Other things that will erode you. It will, just kind of, your will will become, you can't start thinking about all the what ifs and what could happen. It's just devastating. Yeah, it's devastating. Or if only this had happened, or only, there's things I look back and I'm like, well, that I wouldn't do that again. Or, but here we are now. You can just take where you are now and move forward. And, Ross is so inspiring to me. I mean, he's so, like, if I start being negative about someone that we've had, who I think has been really horrible to him or whatever, he won't hear of it. He will not hear of it. He does not want, he kind of gets mad at me. It's like, he does not want to be brought down in any way by that. And it's easy. It would be so easy.
He could justify it.
Yeah.
But he refuses to go there.
Yeah. And and he's like, I don't want to go there. He wants to stay on point. He works hard in the law library and he's going for it. He's fighting for his freedom. And it's true. And so it's so easy to get caught up in, oh, I can't stand that person, or that person did me an injustice, or this is so wrong. But what does that really accomplish? It really does sap your energy. And I can't afford to let my energy. I'm kind of careful about my energy as best I can.
Yeah.
Because, got a lot of demands on it. And and also I would say that the people who've come beside us and walked beside us, like you, Terry and Gina and others, who have been real friends. And I feel like that's been the silver lining of this whole thing, is that if it weren't for Ross being in prison, one little detail, this has been an incredibly rich and rewarding 4 years for me. Of course, I've had a lot of personal growth. I've had a lot of challenges that I've had to meet. But I've met also some really great people who have inspired me. And it's just, of course, my sadness is I want Ross to meet everyone. And
he will.
And he will.
Someday.
He will.
That's our optimistic hope.
It is. And so I can't remember what my point about that was, except that, that the people, people really lift me up. They really help. It's, so we don't feel alone, our family, that we know that there's people like we can call on if we need it, and they're ready and willing to help. And that really makes huge difference, psychologically, emotionally, and just in practical terms. And so that's been wonderfully inspiring.
Well, Lyn, you are inspiring to us. When we see what you're going through and how you're helping us, you are helping us. And please tell Ross that he's helping us to understand what to do. We're not going through the exact situation that he's going through, but we see what he's going through and how he's doing. We see what you're doing, and we commend you. And on behalf of those that are watching, we're sending big hugs to you right now. Lots of love and saying, hey, you're going to make it. You are not alone. Ross is not alone. Your family, Kirk and Callie, are not alone. Yeah. We're right there. And in spite of everything happening, we're going to make it.
Thanks, Terry.
And that's the key.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I think we should show this little thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think this is true for, people. Life is hard sometimes. It's full of challenges. It can be a tough road. And and what we're going through, people have gone through much worse. And it can be very difficult. And so, it's, anyway, and also this has made me, I think, more compassionate. I was always pretty compassionate, but, just really feel for people and what they're going through, and not just exactly what we're going through, but just, I don't know, you understand pain, you understand that, and you have more compassion for your fellow human beings. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, what she's referring to is a little plaque that I have that has happened to be sitting in the bathroom there, and it's one that I read a lot, and it says, here, when we get the reflection out of there, let's see if we can do that. When life changes to be harder, change yourself to be stronger. And Lyn, this is what you have done. Life got really hard. Almost unspeakably, unbearably hard when someone is charged with a crime that is just terrible, the way that the government treated Ross and what they did. And yet you has become stronger. Ross has become even stronger. And that's a message for those of us that are watching this and living this as well. And one of the reasons I appreciate you just letting us do this, because I know there's people that are going through things. You might be out there watching this and going through something, or you have a friend or a loved one that's going through something. Think of what Lyn is going through now. Think of what Ross is going through, and there are other parts of the other people in the family. When life does get harder, it's time for us to be stronger. And that's not just a rah-rah feeling. It's something that is psychologically sound and backed up. So, Lyn, thank you so much for doing that for us. And I'm not going to let you get away without telling people how they can get in touch with the whole movement around Free Ross and how they can get involved, contribute to that in many positive ways. How would they reach you and do that?
Yeah, well, we have a website, which will be revamped one of these days. But it's a website, freeross.org. There's lots of ways to be involved financially. There's, of course, straight out donations. There's a tax deductible option. There's buy from Amazon through our website and we get a little something. There's lots of different ways. There's an art game you can play for $1 that, helps contribute, and it's fun. Revealing art that Ross has done. Pretty wild art pieces, I would say, and interesting. And then there's an action page. There's lots of ways, non-financial, that are helpful. Terry and I were just talking today. He said, I was saying some little technical, nothing issue, but of course for me it's a huge deal. And he said, well, call on some of these technically apt people and they can fix it in 2 seconds. And I'm like, you're right. So if I have your name that I can reach you, then I could say, hey, can you help me with, my webcam doesn't work or whatever, and that would be so helpful to me. It would probably save me hours.
Yeah. If you have some skills like that, you're a programmer or you've worked in producing video, you've run things like that.
Editing
or
videos.
Other areas. We need some help on that.
Social media, I'm doing all of this, and with some help, but the help comes and goes, to be honest. It's volunteer help. And
so the place to go again for that is...
that's freeross.org, and there's an action page, and then there's, of course, a donate page, and then there's lots of information about the case and everything. So
so remember that, freeross.org. That's FREEROSS.org, freeross.org, and it'll be good. Lyn, thank you again for helping us in the midst of everything. That when life has grown harder, you've grown even stronger. If we can get the reflection off there, that's right. You get stronger, and that's what we can do as well. Lyn Ulbricht, thank you so much.
Thanks, Terry.
And thank you for joining us. I want you to think about this and realize what you can do, even in the midst of things getting tougher and harder. It's not over. It's time to pull from those resources like Lyn has done. Go back over this and write down some of the points she talked about. Really, really helpful. I'm Terry Brock with terrybrock.com, and thank you for being here today.